What's going on, guys? This is Alex from Sip Tech. How you doing? So every couple years I try to get an iPhone. So maybe not the newest iPhone, but one of the more relatively newer ones. As a tech consumer, I do have to get acquainted with iOS and at least know what's going on, what the new changes are. This is the iPhone 7, and I'm gonna be talking about my thoughts on the iPhone 7, whether you should get an iPhone 7 in 2018, if it's still a great value or not, and just iOS in general in 2018, especially from an Android user, what I thought of the experience. So a lot of people, when they talk about iPhone, they talk about how the performance is much smoother and things just run better on iOS than they do on Android. And I'm not here to dispute that. I'm not here to agree with that claim. What I can tell you though is the iPhone 7 in 2018 runs pretty well. Other than the few instances that are far and apart, I do like it. I don't think I can stay on iOS for a long time. It feels really restrictive. I can't stay on iOS for a long period of time, but for a short-term vacation kind of thing, I feel like this was a fun experience. If you are looking at getting a phone in 2018 and you don't mind it being a refurbished phone, I actually thought that if you can get your hands on a good refurbished one that is in really good shape for around that $280, $300 mark, I think it's better to get this phone than a brand new mid-tier Android phone. And the reason for that is I used this in succession to, I used it right after the Redmi 5 Plus, Honor 7X, and the, well, it leaded to the Mi A1, but I spent some time with it too. But those were $200 phones. I also used $300 and $400 phones, so basically everywhere around the range over and under this phone. And the reason for that is performance, at least for me, performance for that month that I was using this was nice and smooth. Battery life was surprisingly holding up. It wasn't the best battery life out there, but whoever used this phone before, or whatever refurbished, if they replaced the battery at all, it was holding out for about 13 hours a day. I got about like 4 or 5 hours of screen on time, which is pretty good. And some Android phones in that mid-tier range that we were talking about don't give you that. So this is a sure thing if you can get a good copy of this phone for 300 bucks. Now, the next thing we're gonna talk about is the camera. So camera, iPhone has a legendary reputation. Cameras on the iPhones are unbelievable, right? They're supposed to be the best cameras out in the market. I never really thought that. I've used iPhones in the past, and I just never felt like the cameras were as good as a lot of people say. In terms of mobile photography, I still think the Pixel has the best camera. The Pixel 2 has, in my opinion, the best camera in the market right now, at least from the ones we've tested. We've taken a look at a lot of phones. Even the Galaxy S9, I still think the Pixel 2 is just a tad bit better. But the iPhone 7, I felt it lagged significantly below the Pixel 2. One thing that I didn't like about the iPhone 7 camera is one of the modes, right? So the aspect ratio is 4:3. Default 4:3. You can't change it to 16:9. You have to edit it as 16:9 after you take a photo. You can't just automatically change it to 16:9 before you take a photo, which you can do on Android. So even on Android, most phones ship right out of the box with a 4:3 aspect ratio because you optimize all your megapixels to use. So you say your phone has a 23 megapixel camera. Normally, phones shoot with that full 23 megapixels at 4:3. And you have to change it to 16:9, you lose some of the megapixels. On the iPhone, you don't have that option. And you know, if you're using your phone to shoot pictures for thumbnails on YouTube and stuff like that, they're 16:9. So you have to go that extra step after you take a photo and edit the photo and crop in. And you may think that's not a big deal. And it's not that huge of a deal. But it also affects your framing a little bit because you have to compensate with the 4:3 aspect ratio while you're taking a photo and think to yourself, oh, okay, I have to leave this much more space because we're gonna have to change it to 16:9. And so that's a pretty big inconvenience. And I don't understand why they don't give us an option here on iOS to get that 16:9 aspect ratio photo. But other than that, the camera is satisfactory. It does its job. Not necessarily a letdown, but I just don't think it's as godly as a lot of people say. The last thing I wanted to bring up was that, and it's not just specifically for the iPhone 7, but Apple products in general. It's so fun to use an Apple product because of the accessories. That's the X factor. The accessories on these phones and laptops and any Apple product There's so many accessory makers, and you can have such a unique iPhone experience because of the accessories. And you know, it's not a plug. We already did a review on this. This is the Oasis ink case Ivy, which we looked at on the channel before. But I've gotten the chance to use this every single day for a month with the iPhone 7, and there's nothing like this on Android. They give you so many accessories that you can purchase that you can customize it to be whatever you want. Like, I have my own custom little icon that you guys see on the channel all the time programmed here. I can also use barcodes and stuff like that. Like, I couldn't do this on Android because I don't have a phone case that can do this. And you know, if I'm using the OnePlus 5T, they don't have a phone case that can do this. A lot of phone makers or accessory makers don't do stuff like that. Look at that Hypnotech logo on an ink case. How cool is that, right? But in general, most Android phones just don't have that support from case makers, from accessory makers, as Apple does for their iPhones. And also the Apple Watch. After spending an extra month with the Apple Watch, after not using it for a good 2 years, it literally was 2 years. It took forever to update this. I realized that the Apple Watch, other than the battery life, is a pretty good experience. I enjoy using the Apple Watch as well. And so, you know, Apple, I'm an Android homer. I love using Android, but I do see why a lot of people love using iOS. Is it for me? Probably not. I'm already itching to go back to an Android device, and I'm looking at the Nokia 6 soon, and also the Xperia XA2, so I'm switching back to Android right now. But iOS, yeah, I mean, my opinions of iOS, it's a good operating system. Things are easy to use for a lot of people, but it's really restrictive. If you're used to customizing things or seeing your wallpaper, I hate having all these icons covering up, even with folders. Some things I just can't get used to. I love that customizability of Android, and I'm just used to it, I guess. I guess you can say I'm used to it. But once again, I'm Alex Hypnotech. Let me know what you guys think of this video. Sorry, it's just like basically me talking to you guys about my experiences. Not really a review too. This is more like just me telling you how I feel about a particular device at a certain time. And this is the iPhone 7. Let me know what you guys think of the iPhone 7 right now, and I'll see you guys next time.
If you like this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, hit the bell button below so that you don't miss a single video in the future. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!